Hello, this is Jerry Zremski from the Buffalo News Washington Bureau, coming to you with my weekly summary of what to expect in terms of the news from the nation's capital this week. Now, this week has already started as a busy one for me, and that's because Pinnacle Airlines filed for bankruptcy late last night. Pinnacle is the parent of Colgan Air, which operated Continental Connection Flight 3407, which, as you all know, crashed in Clarence in 2009. This bankruptcy filing was really no surprise. Pinnacle had said some time ago that it had a serious cash crunch and that may indeed have to file for bankruptcy. But today, actually last night in New York City, it finally did that. And so I've already written a story for our website about that, but of course I have to get into much more depth for our print paper tomorrow, just because I was really kind of rushing to get the news on the web as fast as I can, which is something we have to do sometimes. Tomorrow's story, though, I think is going to be much more focused on the ramifications of this. I'll be taking a look at the lawsuits that the families of Continental 3407 have brought against Pinnacle and where they stand and whether or not there could be any impact of this bankruptcy filing on those lawsuits. So that's going to take up a good part of today, which is really the start of what should be a fairly slow week. I say that because Congress is on vacation. It's Easter week. It's going to be a very, very slow news week in terms of legislation out of Washington. So I'll be turning my attention, as always, to other things. I do have an event to cover on Wednesday, which is pretty important. That will be the signing of the Stock Act, the bill sponsored by Congresswoman Louise Slaughter, which bans insider trading among members of Congress. And that's very significant legislation that just passed. President Obama will be signing it on Wednesday, and I'll be sure to be covering that because Congresswoman Slaughter is set to be there at the White House for that. Other than that, we're not expecting a lot of daily news, but I do have some longer-term things I'm hoping to turn my attention to. Most notably, I want to do a story about federal infrastructure spending, highway spending, and how it isn't as big as you might expect, and how it seems right now that Congress is having a very, very difficult time passing a highway bill of any significance, of any length. And this is important for us in Buffalo for many reasons. One, of course, is that the federal aid that we get makes our roads and bridges better when we get it. And it's also important to us because many members of Congress, including our member from Buffalo, Brian Higgins, believe that we really should be spending a lot more on infrastructure at the federal level. Congressman Higgins has a new plan to try to boost infrastructure spending, so I'm going to be taking a look at that in a story to see what the prospects are for the Congress to really start investing in more depth with more money in our in our infrastructure locally. Beyond that, the New York primary is coming, and we're going to be turning our attention to covering that in the coming weeks. There are different angles you can take a look at. You can look at the campaign finance angle, you can look at the polls, etc., and we'll be paying more attention as this gets closer and closer. So that's the way things are looking for now here in Washington, D.C., and I hope you'll be reading my stories this week, and I hope you'll turn in news next week as well. Thank you.